Hello, everybody, and welcome to
Just a bit outside.
with your host, the Ginge.
And the Nickel. How you guys doing out there?
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. No matter where you might be, in the car, on the road, just listen to the app. Welcome to Just a Bit Outside.
We got a good show for you guys today. I do want to give a shout out to my nanny and my grandpa. I showed them how to download the app today, and I hopefully they'll listen. Listening live to Just a Bit Outside.
I'm sure everything's going good. I'm sure they've got it downloaded.
Oh, I downloaded it for her. That's what was funny. Was she's like, oh, how do I get on my phone? And then I had to download it for her and change her password for her because, that generation and technology don't usually go hand in hand sometimes.
No, sometimes it takes a little...
No offense, Nani
Yeah.
and Grandpa, but it's true. Anyways, how was your weekend, Ginge? Pretty good? Not too bad?
Man, it's been a roller coaster of emotions this week, Nick. Roller coaster of emotions. I've seen a lot of cool sports plays. Seen a lot of magical moments this past week. Also, class had some exams, some presentations. So it's been an interesting week. How about you? How have you been, dude?
Man, I've just been chilling, living, cruising through life right now. I had a good, nice, relaxing weekend, kind of away from work. I was in a little bit of a rut, but hopefully getting away to back to Kansas City. Saw Young the Giant this weekend. They were really good. Saw an engagement happen, so that was really cool to see.
Oh, so exciting.
Yeah, changing a lot of change for that happy couple in a good way.
I was going to say,
obviously in a good way.
I'm assuming she said yes.
Yeah, she said
Okay.
yes.
All right.
She said yes.
I would have felt really bad if we're just talking about a giant rejection.
Man,
on
we were in
the
like
radio.
we were like in the room, waiting for those two to come, Ryan and Robin, and it would have been awful if he would have been texting us dude, call it off, it's a no-go. It would have been terrible, but it wasn't gonna happen. Those two are gonna be a happy couple, and definitely hope the best for them. So that was really neat going and being there and for their celebration of engagement.
Well, that's cool. It's not cool. Sadly, yep, that wasn't too cool yesterday. Let's get into K-State football, guys. Your K-State Wildcats traveled to West Virginia to Morgantown to take on the Mountaineers, and after getting a lead early, squandered it. I made it sound really bad, but the Wildcats do fall to West Virginia 16-17. West Virginia remains unbeaten on the year, and Kansas State falls to 2-2.
So
We have a lot to talk about with this game.
I want to talk about identity.
Identity.
So I think when we talk about identity, everybody has their own identity, and being able to be comfortable with who you are, it's very respectable. Something you learn as you grow, but everybody has their own identity, and that's who they are. That's the definition of identity, and I think the easiest identities to kind of point out are those, for a broad term, are introverts and extroverts. And when you have a friend who's an introvert and they're shy, they're kind of closed off to a lot of big crowds, and all of a sudden they want to go maybe out to the bars and go dance and be around big crowds and talk to a bunch of strangers. You kind of scratch your head are you okay? This isn't like you. And it's the same thing the other way around for an extrovert wanting to an extrovert who's loves the crowds all of a sudden being shy and closed off, and just like, are you okay? You know, it's just it's strange. It's strange to see when that happens. Not saying it doesn't happen, but it's just weird to see it when it does. And for me, watching that game yesterday, I think a big problem was it was strange seeing the identity of this team kind of change in this game. And what I mean by that, I mean K-State's identity is clock and game management. And with that, it's a lot of running the ball with your halfbacks, quarterback design runs, which I thought Jesse Oates did a very good job with his route running, or I guess just his running game.
Running ability.
Yes,
yeah.
and reading the defense and making those reads, and finding the holes. As well, and on top of game managing, I see discipline. Discipline is huge. I mean, in football in general, but with Bill Snyder, it seems to be just another step up, because when the K-State Wildcats beat Florida Atlantic 63-7, he was mad because they had 12 penalties for 105 yards. He's like whatever, like we won 63-7 against a FCS team, but all penalties were awful. And that's discipline. He wants to see discipline out of these young men. And we saw a lack of discipline in that game. And I'm not necessarily talking a lot with penalties, Ginge. I'm talking a lot with the discipline, with the game managing as well. So to me, it was a double whammy, because we had at least 4 timeouts, 4 of the 6 timeouts used in order to stop a delay of game penalty. What in the world is going on? Jesse Ertz is looking to the sideline for a play call or a play change for adjustments with 8 seconds, 6 seconds on the clock. And I understand Bill Snyder wants to game manage it, and he wants to run the clock down, like the play clock down too. But what in the world is going on when you have to use your timeouts in order to stop delay of game at least 4 times, as well as getting a couple delay of game calls on you? What is going on there?
At what point do you think that this is more of possibly a communication issue with the sideline? I mean, it needs to be corrected, whatever it is. We've seen this somewhat dating back to last year even. There'd be games where it seemed like the play calling was off. We were wasting timeouts to prevent delay of games. We were getting delay of game calls. I mean, maybe not as frequent as it has seemed so far this year, but it's got to be fixed. I don't know if it's a sideline issue, like an assistant coach, just not getting the plays in time, or like I said, if Jesse's not able to hear what's going on or distinguish what play he's being told, but it's got to get fixed. It's a major issue that is really affecting this team and pretty much cost them what seems like a game on Saturday. Also, play calling was a huge issue with the game management. As we get later in the game, we get into the fourth quarter, when we still have a lead, and instead of kind of milking the clock, running the ball, staying on the ground, being smart, we're out there telling Jesse Ertz to throw friggin' seam passes. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't want to say that Jesse Ertz isn't good. Yesterday, his efficiency was off. It seemed like he just couldn't hit the target. There were a lot of overthrows, and I'm sure that can get worked out. I'm sure that those are just kinks. But as of right now, the main issue I had with yesterday's game was definitely play calling and discipline. You have to be smarter.
And when you mentioned with the game calling, with throwing the ball, Jesse Oates he was 10 for 30 yesterday. You talked about efficiency. That's bad efficiency. That's obviously that's not good. A 10 for 30, and they were 8 for 18 on third down conversions. I mean, Bill Snyder even said we just couldn't get first downs. And when we talk about identity of this team and what we've seen out of Bill Snyder as a play caller, and out of Bill Snyder's type of team, I mean, clock management, milking the clock, is huge, especially when you're up. When you have the lead heading into the fourth quarter.
This is yesterday was the perfect game to win with just purely clock management. It should have been a game that K-State could have handled easily. Once you get a lead, it's unless your defense isn't up to par, you shouldn't ruin that lead, which is not true at all. Our defense is one of the top defenses in the entire nation, top 10. Top 10, we have the best defense in the Big 12 right now, and they're getting it done. There's no doubt about that. In my mind, this defense is amazing. Dante Barnett, Elijah Lee, everyone has looked.
Jordan Willis,
he is climbing up the all-time sack list at Kansas State. I think he got all the way up to 7th or 8th yesterday.
He's killing it, man.
I think he passed like 2 people yesterday in that game.
We squandered we squandered a great defensive performance from the Wildcats. Because if I went up and I just went up to somebody from K-State, any K-State fan,
not even K-State, if you just told someone what this final stat line was,
if I said, hey, K-State, West Virginia is only going to score 17 points this week, I knew it was going to happen. I was some sort of magical
genie,
psychic who can see into the future, and said they're only scoring 17 points. Do you say that K-State's going to win it?
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. I think that we have enough power to run the ball on the ground, and I'd say that Jesse Ertz is good enough to pull out a couple touchdown passes, and we have Byron Pringle. Not to mention that the special teams for K-State, every year our special teams seems to be one of the better ones in the country. And it's disappointing I feel bad that it seems like we maybe are putting this all on the offense, but this isn't just a strictly offense thing. This is an offense and offensive coordinator issue.
Whatever communication is going on between the sidelines and Jesse Ertz,
it needs to get corrected.
It happened in Stanford too. There was 3 delay of games we had, and you thought it was going to get, I thought it was corrected by then, but it looks like, playing at FAU and Missouri State, especially only one half against Missouri State, they didn't have to run into any problems with that. But it just was so weird watching this team throwing the ball when you would have expected a Snyder-like team to be running it at that point. The last 3 possessions, I could even go last 4 possessions. The last possession in the third quarter, they ran the ball 3 straight times, got a first down at their own 22, and then they threw it, incomplete, the next play, and then Jesse Ertz got sacked. That only took off 2:42. Next possession, ended up with an interception. It was 6 plays, only 2:56 taken off from the clock. Next possession, only got 3 plays, only 1:31 taken off the clock. West Virginia was able to go down and score, take the lead, 17-16. Next play, we had 10 plays, 4:08 off the clock, and then we missed that. That was the possession we missed the field goal, which was very unfortunate. You want to eat up clock at the same time as well as score, but it was just, I don't know. When we see Bill Snyder-like teams, we always talk about they like to run the ball. They love to run the ball. And all of a sudden, they just seem to have went away from it. And it was just super weird. It was super weird and super frustrating, especially since we couldn't complete the pass. And you didn't give West Virginia any sense. West Virginia didn't need any sense of urgency to need to like, oh, we need to hurry up and need to score because like there's a lot of time on the clock still.
Yep.
Very frustrating, to say the least. Defense,
man,
stepped it up
forcing
like they did.
two turnovers,
So-
a pick, and a fumble. And like we mentioned earlier, special teams still looking good.
Adjustments, communication, better communication. Just
This team will get better. This team will get better.
how often do we say that though?
I know. I'm saying it though. This team will get better. This offense will start to turn it around. Hopefully,
Pick it up.
if Bill's not already stressing communication, then I don't know.
Communication, discipline. And I expect them to go back to a lot of just what they do, clock management, game managing type of play.
Probably a super simple offense next week to start the game.
Oh, yeah. So adjustments with communication from the sideline to Jesse Ertz will help a lot. So adjustments made, come back, get that first win in the Big 12 against Texas Tech at home next week. At home. So that'll be big. And speaking of Texas Tech, as well as other Big 12 schools, K-State. I mean, again, like we said, K-State falls 17-16 against West Virginia. I mean, West Virginia is now 4-0 on their season. That's their first win in the Big 12, or the first win against K-State in the Big 12. Yeah. Baylor's 5-0 on the season, now 2-0 in the conference.
They beat Iowa State 45-42 on a game-winning field goal.
Against Iowa State.
So, man, what Ames has proved to be a tough place to play no matter what. Sometimes that Iowa State team, you see them on the road and you just – I mean, they almost look Kansas, KU-esque with how bad they can be. But then they find a way to make things interesting at home, man. That's big credit to their fans. They always are really supportive of that team and super loyal. So, respect. But once again, they couldn't get it done against Baylor, who
unfortunately,
who remains unbeaten. They, I think, moved up in the polls today. I can't remember what they are at now, but they were ranked 13th yesterday.
And Texas Tech is 3-1. I mean, they beat KU in the very first game of the Big 12 matchup of the season. The big game, two biggest games were OK State. Texas at OK State, and then Oklahoma at TCU. Both Oklahoma and OK State, both Oklahoma teams were able to pull out the win. I wasn't surprised with the Oklahoma game. I expect, I think, as well as everybody else, expect Oklahoma to win this division, and by doing, I mean, they're going to do that conference. Sorry, they're going to do that beating teams like I don't see TCU as a juggernaut this year.
No.
And they handled them pretty easy. I was surprised with how bad OK State beat up UT this week.
Man, Charlie Strong's seat is just in flames at this point. It's so hot.
Oh.
Texas already announced this week that they aren't a big fan of firing coaches mid-season, so that most likely that won't happen. But it's not really looking too good for Charlie after what seemed like a very strong start for Texas. They have stumbled in recent weeks. So we'll see if they can put it back together or if they will continue to slide.
You know, I like Charlie Strong. He's a great coach. He came from Louisville with Coach Teddy Bridgewater, and when he got hired by UT, I was like, well, fantastic hire, really good hire, very good coach, and boy, first two seasons, I wasn't super surprised. There's still Mac Brown's kids still in there.
Yeah.
So Charlie Strong was building up the team he wanted, and this seemed to be the year. Like you give a coach like 3 years to kind of build up the team they want, and it's they started off strong, like you said, and now they're just it's with a huge win against Notre Dame, but they're coming back down to earth with these last two losses, especially this loss. That game against Cali was like, I mean, that was a nail biter. But this one, they did not look good.
No.
And they're doing this 2-quarterback system
with Tyrone Swoops and I forget the other kid's name.
Shane Buechele.
Yep, that's what it is.
And they got that dual quarterback system going. And we know here at K-State, like all freshman year, how
that can take a toll.
That it just didn't seem to work.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Tyrone Swoops is big guy, fast guy, but when Daniel Sams, for example, was in the game, you knew he was going to run it. When Jake Waters was in, he was more likely to throw it. They did some design runs with him, but it's the same thing over in UT. Swoops is in, he's going to run it. Shane Buechele's in, he's probably going to throw it. I feel like it's easy adjustments for the team to make. Tyrone Swoops, like on goal line positions, I understand putting him in there because he's a big guy, fast guy, strong guy. So goal line stands, yeah, I'd throw him in there. But just kind of like switching back and forth, it just throws off your offense.
Yeah.
So we learned that here, I think, at K-State with our freshman year. So in 2013, we'll see how UT's does these next coming weeks. They'll be playing Kansas State at home in Manhattan on the 22nd of this month. So let's move on into some of the bigger games this week. There was 2 really big games, I think, that was circled.
Yeah, 2 top 10 matchups.
Yeah. So we had Wisconsin at Michigan, Wisconsin and Ann Arbor, and that was a big game.
A big Big Ten game with, like you said, number 4 Michigan playing number 8 Wisconsin. A lot of hype surrounding this game, and
boring.
Yeah.
Boring game.
It was boring. I mean, there were a couple interesting tidbits. The stacked up I formation that Jim Harbaugh tried to run, that was an interesting play. And then that pick. The pick by, I want to say his last name was Lewis of Michigan. Has a one-handed interception to seal the win for Michigan. It's pretty impressive. I'm pretty sure it was number 1 on SC Top 10 yesterday. But, yeah, Michigan was able to secure a win against Wisconsin, 14-7. Once again, top 10 matchup, also a Big Ten matchup. So that's going to be good for Michigan, taking down a quality opponent. And then we also had number 5 Clemson and number 3 Louisville do battle yesterday.
That was a fun game to watch. 2 Heisman hopefuls matching up against each other. Deshaun Watson for Clemson. The probably, I would say, front runner, Lamar Jackson for Louisville. They played in a epic ACC showdown. Clemson came out on top 42-36, but not before some fourth quarter drama occurred. They were up. Clemson was up 28-10 at one point, and Louisville came back and ended up. They scored like 26 straight points, and were up 36-28 at one point, mid fourth quarter, and I was like, "Holy cow!" Clemson blows this on the road or at home. That's gonna. I thought Clemson was gonna win this much easier than they did. But Deshaun Watson was able to. Deshaun Watson and Clemson Tigers were able to pull out the win. Ended up winning 42-36. But dang, man, Lamar Jackson is incredible.
He is the real deal.
That was the first time I got to see him actually play. He was so fast, so agile, just quick with his agility. Just so impressed by Lamar Jackson and what he can do.
Do you think the Mike Vick comparisons are true?
Heck yeah. He is incredibly fast.
Because, I mean, I know
fast.
I've pointed out the tweet before, but Mike Vick tweeted one time earlier this season that he thinks that Lamar Jackson is 5 times better than him when he was at Virginia Tech. And I just think it's an interesting comparison.
Oh, I don't know if 5 times. I don't know 5 times.
I mean, that's Mike being humble.
But he was incredibly fast, and he was able to move around that pocket in order to extend plays with his feet. Now he doesn't seem to run and to throw, like continue to look down the field. When Lamar Jackson's looking to run, like running around, he's looking to try to break away.
Yep.
And can he run? And can he run fast? He had 31 carries for 162 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and then he threw for 295 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. So 3 touchdowns there puts him out to 28 total touchdowns. Deshaun Watson ended up with 306 yards, 5 touchdowns. He threw 3 picks, which was very unlike Deshaun Watson, but great, incredible game. So if you missed that game, you missed one of the great games. But we could see both of these teams, and I mean, could we see both of these teams in the playoffs?
It's very possible. Louisville, with Lamar Jackson at the helm, Louisville seems kind of unstoppable, but it seems more of a one-man show, just to me. Deshaun Watson and Clemson, they're it's kind of the same. Like, it's not the same story because I feel like Clemson maybe has a little bit more pieces, but I feel like out of the two that Lamar is better. So that, I mean, it was an interesting matchup, and as you said, it was a great game. So if they do meet again, I expect the same. I would enjoy a rematch of this game when it comes to playoff time.
Oh yeah, great, fantastic matchup. Looking to maybe see it again. Any other games you have for us, Ginge?
I've got a couple interesting ones that I picked out. Number 12, Florida State loses to North Carolina on a game-winning field goal, 37-35. Florida State's defense has really cost them the past couple games. Their defense has not looked good. It has looked terrible. So big ups to North Carolina for winning that one. I saw that as soon as the kicker hit the game-winning field goal, he started running and doing the tomahawk chop, kind of rubbing Florida State's face. So that was interesting. I also had Stanford, number 7 Stanford. This is actually our third top 10 matchup of the week, if you think about it. Number 7 Stanford played number 10 Washington.
Good point.
And Stanford got routed, dude. Whew. Oh, man. It was 44-6. Stanford gets pummeled by Washington University. That doesn't look good for K-State.
No,
not at all.
Especially if we're like, let's say I was hoping we run the tables. That was my hope in the Big 12. But yeah, that loss to them doesn't look like it's like, oh, you lost to Stanford. Like, Stanford's this fantastic team.
Yeah. So them getting routed didn't look good. And then the only other game I wanted to point out, we had a bit of discussion about this earlier before the show. Number 11 Tennessee took on number 25 Georgia. Georgia had a lead most of the game. And as it seems to be Tennessee's story, they come back. But this time in a dramatic fashion. They throw a Hail Mary as the game clock expired. One of the Tennessee wide receivers catches it. Tennessee wins 34-31. They beat Georgia. And I'm telling you, their luck is going to run out with all these comebacks. It's just they're not going to be able to keep doing this week in and week out. This whole let's keep it interesting against lower-ranked teams. Georgia is a quality opponent, but
so is Florida.
So is Florida, but do you want to tell me Appalachian State and Ohio were quality opponents? Because they should have demolished them, and they didn't.
Oh, well. They won.
Nick doesn't want to talk about this because I got a little angry earlier.
Yeah, I'm not looking to get angry on this show right now. We're not looking to fight, but that was a luck. I agree that was very lucky with the Hail Mary. It's called a Hail Mary because they're throwing up a prayer, and I mean, they came out with the win, luckily. But I'm not just gonna say they were lucky to be able to come back against Florida. That's, I think, good coaching and good playing. Maybe some luck on the side, but what team doesn't have a little luck at some points in the game?
KU.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well,
I'm sorry, I had to correct you. At
KU's
least.
Could be an exception. Well, let's take a quick break here. Before we come back, we'll be talking some MLB baseball as it's the closing down of the season.
Game 162. Game 62. That's hilarious.
We'll be right back on Just a Bit Outside. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Just a Bit Outside. This is your host, Nick.
And this is Zach, a.k.a. The Ginge.
Last segment, we talked about Kansas State football. We talked about NCAA football. Unfortunate loss by Kansas State against West Virginia. Looking to bounce back this week against Texas Tech at home. So if you want to see some good football, want to go have a good time, definitely head out to the stadium this Saturday. Well, for this segment, we're going to be talking about America's pastime, as in
baseball.
Cricket. Oh. Baseball. Yeah, I meant baseball. So we're going to be giving you guys some updates on the playoff standings. Now, I know it's kind of a touchy subject for a lot of Royals fans. Royals do have a winning record this season, so that's a positive note. Unfortunately, didn't make the playoffs, but I still think they have a lot of key pieces. They do have a lot of key pieces to be able to bounce back next year and make it back to the playoffs. But that being said, we're not just about the Royals. We're about all the Major League Baseball teams.
I'm sorry.
We're about all the Major League Baseball teams, so we're going to give you guys updates on what's going on around the league and who's in and who's out. Ginge, take it away.
All right. So coming in today, we had four or three games that were going to decide how the wild card standings are going to play out. 3 games, actually. The Mets yesterday won 5-3 against the Philadelphia Phillies, which secured their spot as the number 1 wild card coming from the National League. So today it was down to the final game for the Cardinals and the Giants for the last spot in the wild card league. And if the Giants would have lost today and the Cardinals would have won, it would have been tied, and they would have played a 1-game series heading to the wild card. But the Giants won today 7-1 against the Dodgers in what is also a huge game because that was Vin Scully's last game called. So big congrats to Vin Scully for a wonderful career with the Los Angeles Dodgers and being on their radio station. Always pretty cool guy. So
the coolest.
The coolest. So yeah, the Giants secured the second wild card spot. But the Cardinals did still play today, and still playing. Actually, it's over. They beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 10-4. And then coming from the AL, the big spots were going to be for Toronto and Detroit. The Blue Jays. The Blue Jays clinched the AL wildcard spot with the Tigers' loss. and so they'll play the Orioles because the Orioles had already locked up wild card spot number 1 in the AL, and with the Tigers losing today against the Atlanta Braves 1-0, the Blue Jays clinched the second AL wild card spot, and they also won today against Boston, and that was in Fenway, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so with Toronto's win, they will be hosting Baltimore for that AL wild card game, and the AL wild card game playing October 4th. So Toronto is back in. That does upset some Royals fans, but 3 AL East teams are in the playoffs. Red Sox winning that division, but Toronto and Baltimore bringing up the rear with the wild card spots. Yeah. And then you already mentioned the NL.
Yep.
They'll be playing San Francisco. Unfortunately for you, the Cardinals cut it close, man. They really did.
Hey, man, I'm not really too bummed out about it, to be honest with you. This team is young, and I have faith in them. Also, you can't really be too mad about the Giants winning today against the Dodgers. We should have beat the Reds. We had a 4-game stand against the Reds and only won 2, so that's on us.
So it will be San Francisco, and it seems that the even years are San Francisco years to win it. That being said, about winning it all, what are your predictions for, let's say, who's going to win the pennant, and then who's going to be in the World Series? So you want me to start, or you want to start?
Yeah, no, you go ahead and start.
So I'm usually on 2 shows here. I know, Ginge, don't worry, I love this show much better. But in my the shows on Monday, Sports Talk, KSTB Sports Talk, I predicted Blue Jays. So I think the Blue Jays are gonna ride it to the World Series from the wild card spot, and then against the Cubs. For me, it's hard to go against the Cubs this year, just because of the way they've been playing. It's the easy pick, and I'm going to go with that easy pick, and I'm going to pick the Cubs to win over Toronto in the World Series. But I do think Toronto is going to come out on top. Great team, can score a lot of runs, and pitching ain't too bad either.
All right. Out of the AL, I have the Red Sox. I feel like that Boston strong mentality is coming out strong. And it being Poppy's last year, I think there's some magic in that team. I think they come out of the AL, and then as much as I dislike them, it's going to be the Cubs coming out of the National League. They're just too good.
Oh, yeah.
They're too good. But I see them losing in the World Series to the Red Sox.
Really?
There's this long-standing curse that the Cubs haven't been able to break. And just because you have a great team, that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to break it. So just out of the pure dislike for them in my heart, I'm going with the Red Sox.
Okay. I'm rooting for Big Poppy's last year.
Yeah, man, I'm going to root for Big Poppy.
Heck yeah. I think with that being said, with Big Poppy, his last year, we're going to move into one of our favorite segments.
You like that? You like that? You like that? I like that. You like that? I like that. You like that? You gotta like that, right? You like that? You like that? Nice.
So this is our You Like That segment. Thank you, Cook Cousins. I love Big Poppy. So does Boston. I'm not like obsessed over Big Poppy, but he's definitely been a player that has just really been a huge part of our generation.
Yes. Oh yeah. He's been a power threat, and he's been one of the hometown guys. It's really cool because for his entire career, it seems that he's been with Boston, and you can find yourself rooting for guys like that on even teams you oppose. That maybe your rivals. It's like with Derek Jeter when he retired. Of course, he's a rival of like the Red Sox, but they showed him a lot of love, just like New York is showing David Ortiz a lot of love, because you may not like that team they play for, you may not like the jersey he puts on, but he's in the same jersey day in and day out. He's committed to one place, and so I've always respected Poppy for that, and he does a lot for that city, and it's really cool to always have seen him give back to the community, especially with some of the tragic events like the marathon bombings and stuff like that. He was a big part in trying to help put that community back together. I mean, one of the key voices in Boston strong.
So not only transcending the game of baseball, but transcending the city as well, which is wonderful to see. Today was his last game at Fenway Park, since he says he's retiring, and
for the regular season. He'll still have postseason
a regular
baseball,
season.
Yeah.
But he definitely had a few words from the fans, and here it is. It got very emotional for him.
Okay, I'm back. I want to thank you, Mom. Wherever you are, I love you so much and I miss you. I want to thank my dad, this wonderful man who raised me the right way and teach me everything I know. Thank you, Pop. I want to thank my wife, Tiffany, and my kids for putting up with my career. We have been through a lot of tough time, but they have been able to keep up with it. I want to thank you guys. I love you guys so much. I want to thank this wonderful organization, the Red Sox. You guys have given me so much. You guys have trusted me. You guys have fight through it. You guys have supported me so much. Mr. John Henry, Tom Warner, Larry Lucchino, all of you, all the owners and partners. I want to thank you guys so much for believing on me and giving me the opportunity to be part of this wonderful organization.
So there's some words from
Big Poppy, David Ortiz,
man. If we had Tony in here,
I'm sure Tony
he'd be
would,
crying right
Tony
now.
would be very emotional.
So it's good thing he wasn't in the studio. But I love seeing this. So that was my you like that of this week, was just Big Poppy's. I mean, his thanks to the family, his teammates, the city, and I'm sure he's gonna still stay. I mean, he's gonna be a big part of that city. You mentioned that hometown guy. You don't see that very often anymore. Players leave. Players don't stick with the team, unfortunately. But he's one of those few now, and it makes him such a special player.
It truly does, man. What an awesome dude, David Ortiz. Oh yeah, well deserving of a new nice from Mr. Meeseeks. I'm gonna get into. I've got two.
We have no rules on the show, so we can put how many you likes that you want.
So, do you remember earlier when I said it was an emotional week? It was an emotional week.
Yes.
Baseball took a toll on me this week, guys. We don't play biased, and I don't want to seem like I'm about to play biased and have two Cardinals stories back to back, but
one of them transcends more than just a Cardinals story. It really does.
So, everyone, as we talked about last week, everyone has probably heard of Jose Fernandez, the passing of Jose Fernandez, the Marlins starting pitcher. Well, the Cardinals have a shortstop by name of Aledmys Diaz, who is from Cuba, where Jose Fernandez was from. They actually grew up on the same street together, grew up in Cuba together, played baseball together, and then both finally got to fulfill their dreams and come over to America and play MLB baseball. And they were really good friends. It's cool to have one of those people you grow up with in the major league with you. And then when he passed, the Cardinals allowed Diaz to go down to the private funeral for the family and friends of Jose Fernandez down in Florida. So he missed that game on Tuesday, and then or maybe it wasn't Tuesday. He missed the game on Monday. And then the next day on Tuesday, it was his first day back in the lineup, and since coming back from the funeral, and the bases are loaded. It's crunch week for the Cardinals. This past week was crunch week because of the tight wild card race, and so he comes up in the bottom of the fourth, bases loaded, and kind of similar to what D. Gordon did, hits a home run. It was a grand slam. Hits a grand slam, and you can tell all the emotions are running through this kid. He's a rookie. Like he's our age. Running around the base pads after losing his best friend, after going to the funeral, after spending time with Jose's grandmother and mom. He goes back to St. Louis. First at bat he sees. He hits a grand slam, and he cries while he's rounding the bases. And then he gets home, and Yadier Molina is there to grab him, help him get to the dugout to where they can hug and have that. Just let go, let the emotion come out. When they get in the dugout, you can see Yachty holding him while he's crying, and then he got the curtain call. He comes up out, tips the helmet, and then looks up in the sky like, that was for you, Jose. And it was a magical moment. And, I mean, it was special for me because I'm a Cardinals fan, but even if you look at it from an outspot, like, you can't not hate that. That was a beautiful, touching moment for a friend that he lost.
He just so happened to play for St. Louis. I agree. Definitely not definitely more than just a St. Louis thing. Just huge for the baseball world and huge for this young man who lost a dear friend. Let's throw out that play call of Diaz's home grand slam.
Back for Diaz after the memorial service for his friend Jose Fernandez. Bases, the 2-1 pitch. Diaz, high drive, left center. It is gone. Adios, pelota. Grand slam.
The emotion of that moment for Aledmys Diaz.
And truly one of the most remarkable moments we've had this year at the ballpark. Incredible.
Also, that was his first ever grand slam. Just a small little fact as well.
And if you want to go see it, we have it on our Twitter page. I think that story and that moment.
All right. So the other one, now this one's going to be a little bit more biased because it's a long-term guy leaving. Matt Holliday has been with the Cardinals since 2009 when he got traded there from the A's. Has been a staple of this Cardinals team since 2009, since joining the club, winning a World Series with us in 2011 with Adam Wainwright, Chris Carpenter, Yadier Molina, and he's still with the team, and he's getting older. Kind of on the decline, and then last month he got hit in the hand by a pitch and broke his thumb, and has been on the disabled list since. And his contract is going to be up this year, and he reached out to the owner of the Cardinals, Mr. DeWitt, earlier this week. Tried to figure out, what's going on with my contract. Is there, are you guys going to pick up my option? Anything like that? He informed him that the chances are low of picking up his option, which means he won't be with the team next year, most likely. And so even though he's still hurt, Matt Holliday asked if he could say goodbye to St. Louis. So we activated him on Friday, and we're gonna let him take an at bat, and having a good game against the Pirates that day. I think we were up 5-0 when he got his at bat in the 7th, and so Mike Matheny brings him in the 7th, and he says, "All right, this is probably gonna be your final at bat as a Cardinal." So Matt Holliday goes up. And before he even steps in the batter's box, you can see him fighting tears. And because, he's been a main component of this team for so long. He comes up and he crushes a ball opposite field. And once again, kind of the same story, round the bases. And you can just see the tears starting to build up. And he crosses home plate. Matt Carpenter's there to hug him, and then when he gets to the dugout, the two people that are waiting there for him are Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina. As I said, have been the staples of this team since 2009. These are long-term guys that have been here forever and have put in hours and have won a ring together. So it was a magical moment if that was his final at bat as Cardinal, and he will be missed by St. Louis fans dearly. And we even have the play call from it because it's super awesome.
Holliday out to deep right. Yes, yes, yes! He did it in what could be his final plate appearance in St. Louis. An opposite field home run. Unbelievable.
Really good play call. But yeah, Matt Holliday will always be respected from us St. Louis Cardinals fans. So I hate to be all biased in this Kansas radio station, but there it is.
So that was our You Like That section. Hope you guys enjoyed that. It added some flair to it. We only have a few more minutes left on this show. So let's just give a recap of some of the NFL. KC didn't play today.
KC
hasn't played
they
today,
played
because
tonight.
they played tonight on Sunday Night Football at the Steelers.
Do you want to do a quick game preview of that? Who do you got tonight? KC or the Steelers?
Oh man, I have the Steelers. I think the Steelers are gonna. I like what I think KC's gonna give them a lot of trouble, but I think the Steelers are mad about that last loss they had against
that was a
blowout
rough one.
loss against Philadelphia. And I just think their weapons, their explosive weapons are going to come into play here. Le'Veon Bell's back. That could be in a good emotional game for him. But on the other side of for the Chiefs, they have Jamal Charles back, so that could be a big emotional spark for them as well. So we'll see what happens. But I got Steelers. I'm gonna go 34-17. So I think their offense is gonna come out and kind of play very well against Kansas City, unfortunately. But I think they'll give them some trouble. But I'm predicting a 34-17 win by the Steelers.
Is it an Arrowhead or is it?
No, it's at the Steelers.
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, then I'm also gonna pick the Steelers.
Okay. Other games around the league. Jaguars beat the Colts 30-27. The game in London, Texans won 27-20 over the Titans. Browns at Redskins. Redskins pulled out a win 31-20. Browns are now 0-4 on the season. Seahawks were able to beat the Jets. Ryan Fitzpatrick threw 3 more interceptions, so that is now 9 in 2 games. Bills shut out the Patriots at home. Bills come away with the win 16-0. Patriots' first loss of the season. That's their first home shutout loss since 2005. Panthers got destroyed by the Falcons Falcons win 48-33. Julio Jones put up 300 yards in receiving with a touchdown. Panthers lost Cam Newton to a concussion. He was out for most of that game. Falcons are able to take advantage with the 48-33 victory. Raiders have a great comeback against the Ravens. They go to 3-1 on the season after a 28-27 win at the Ravens. Bears won 17-14 against their division rival, the Lions. And then the games that are going on right now, the Chiefs rival, the Broncos, are winning 27-7. That game is now delayed in the fourth quarter. Trevor Siemian was hurt. The rookie Paxton Lynch has come in and have clearly put the game away against the Bucs. Cardinals are beating the Rams. Cardinals are at home, winning 13-10. There's still 11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Rams have been a big surprise this season. They are 2-1 and are playing the Cardinals very well in their away. And a credit to the Rams defense, especially. Rams are a surprise team so far. Chargers are beating the Saints 24-21. That's just the end of the third quarter. Chargers are moving the ball down the field. They have it 1st and 10 at the New Orleans 25, looking to score again. And then Cowboys are at the 49ers. Dak Prescott is leading them to a 21-17 lead with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. So that's all the football. It was quick. I know we didn't get to any NFL. We had a lot to talk about today.
Well, the final stat update, just to bring it in, is the Ginge 123.54 points this week, and Nicholas 68.82. I am crushing you in fantasy. Absolutely crushing you.
I love you, Ginge. I just want to let you know I am definitely giving you loving symbol right now. That I adore you and you're the best ever. Okay?
That means peace on all worlds.
Yep.
Son,
I guess I owe you something, but yeah, congratulations you're beating me in fantasy football. That's all we have for our show today. We appreciate everybody that was able to tune in, especially my Nani and Grandpa. This has been Just a Bit Outside
with the Ginge
and the Nickel.
Thanks for keeping it real, Manhattan.
Until next week.